Welcome back to the channel, folks. I'm your host, Fog. Thank you for joining another episode here on Battle Gamers. And today, we're going to take a look at the Legends Ultimate Mini just a little bit more. It's going to be a quicker video. I know I always say that, but it will try to be this time. Essentially, a viewer, Schleprock, had said, hey, it'd be great if you could kind of show the device with an OTG PC and kind of how it would connect and all of that, because I talk so much about streaming to the unit for Steam, for example, through the network in the house. I have if you've watched any of the live streams, things like that, we'll talk about those in a second, but if you've seen any of those, I stream from a main PC, gaming PC in the house, and it played on here. So using the LegendsLink app, and that tends to work okay. In most cases, it works really well, especially since I have most of the house networked with Ethernet cables. So, or I think it's Cat 6, I think is what's through the entire house. But essentially, everything plays just as it would if you were playing on a TV when you're playing it, streaming it from the gaming PC to here. The one area where that stops is when you're trying to use the streaming software that's built in here that you can go into your ArcadeNet account, you can load up your Twitch, you can load up your YouTube settings and your Facebook settings, and you can stream directly from this to those. Now, no camera or anything like that, it's just the gameplay, or it's actually whatever is on the screen. So I started testing out, could you do under the BYOG local streaming to your PC in the house with the LegendsLink app, and then use the Facebook connection or the YouTube connection to then stream whatever was on here up, right? And I figured, you know what, I can get a camera to that if I use Restream or StreamYard or something like that. Well, all of that is a lot of bandwidth through the network, number one, getting whatever game is on that gaming PC over to this. That's your internal network. That's a lot of bandwidth. It's usually not too bad because a lot of it can be handled. If you got a gigabit connection, it's going to be pretty simple or more. 10 gigabit, I think, is some of the limits. But you're also, when you're thinking about the streaming side to YouTube, you're uploading something, so you're using your upload bandwidth from this device, as well as I was using a PC that I have in the ALP with a camera to upload the camera image and that stuff. So you're basically doing two uploads, and then you're pulling it down for the Restream or the StreamYard software, and lots of bandwidth usage. It's kind of unnecessary in a way. So I thought, okay, what is a better way to stream what I'm playing on here? And that's when Schleprock made that comment on the review video of this, and I thought, you know what? Let's talk about that. What do you need? Well, obviously, if you have a controller that came with it, that's not a bad thing to have to be able to use if you got a second player on this machine, since it's only one player. Now, I do have, and just as a refresher, I've replaced the original 6-button version that came with this with a Gamer Mini, and it has 8 buttons now. So this is really good for Steam. This is really good for modern games because it gives you your shoulder buttons, your trigger buttons, your 4 face buttons, and a joystick, and then you've got your start menu or back, and then you've got the Steam menu button that you can hit, which is your AtGames button. Then another thing I have here is a cheap keyboard. This is a Logitech wireless keyboard. It has a trackpad built into it. It's about $25 on Amazon, maybe a little bit more than that, like $27. But this does perfect for this device. It's something I can, toss in the shelf and you don't even see it afterwards. But because you don't have the trackball like you do on the AtGames Legends Ultimate, you don't have a mouse control. So you have to have something here that's going to make it easy. Now, could you use just a Steam controller if you had one of these that came with it, like you're using the exact same machine that I have? Yes. And I guess saying that currently right now, this works for any PC. I'm just using this one, right? It'd be any PC, any laptop, as long as it has HDMI out and it has a USB-A or USB-C that you could convert an A connector to a C or something like that. You should be good to go. Your results will, your mileage will vary, I guess, but In terms of connectivity, it should work. So, setting it up. Right now, I have a bunch of cables. I'm recording on here as well, so you're going to see direct footage from the device for some of this with my face on that camera, because that's kind of the thing I want. It's a streaming setup built into this, like there's one built into this unit, the ALP here. So, I have the camera plugged into the back here into USB 3.0. I have an OTG male-to-male USB-A cable that's probably about 6 feet long that's plugged into the unit that will plug into here. And I have an HDMI cable that's plugged into there that will plug into here. This one's really short, maybe about 12 inches, 18 inches at the most. And then I've got it directly wired into the network. So there is a Cat 6 Ethernet cable running into the back of it. So PC is up and running. It's going to be on just Steam's TV menu, or TV like UI, which is their big picture mode. So that's the best way to really use it with this machine, because your control deck will be able to run it without having to do too much. So how do you get it running? Well, in the machine itself, you have in your settings a option that says OTG mode. So OTG mode basically tells the, I'm bouncing around here, the control deck that no longer output anything that the machine has to worry about, only output through your left-hand side most USB. So the one right next to the HDMI connection, it should be, looks like a USB 2.0. It has a white little connector inside, where the one next to it is like a 3.0 and it has a blue connection, it looks like, inside of it. So what you do is you take your USB-A male-to-male cable and you will plug it right into the one next to the HDMI cable, and then you will take the HDMI cable and plug it right into the connection there on the AtGames Legends Ultimate Mini. So at that point, you're ready to go, at least for the connectors. In terms of OTG mode, you'll see that on the settings. If you click on that, hit your A button, it's going to say, hey, the machine's being put into OTG mode. Essentially, you connect your device up with the cables we just did. You then press the little button on the top, and now you'll be in OTG mode, where you can control the PC instead of the machine here. To get it out of that, what you need to do is pull the USB out from the machine. That will automatically disconnect it, like you saw there, and it'll go back to being able to control the AtGames Legends menu. So plugging this in and then going into OTG mode, you'll get a notification saying, hey, USB is connected, Legends Ultimate cannot be used, which means the menu structure of the Legends Ultimate arcade machine, you're basically only going to be able to control this until you pull that USB cable out. Once you've got that done, all you have to do is press the little button right here on the top of the deck. You'll see that light go to green. And at that point, you are pretty much set to go. As long as you've got everything connected correctly, your PC's turned on, you should be able to see, Steam, for example, or the Windows layout show up. Now, in this, when you first run it, you're not going to be able to use the deck, because Steam doesn't know what to do with this deck here. So we're going to switch over, and I'm going to show you on the direct feed what you do at that point. So moving forward, so hang tight. Now that you're in the Steam OS with the control deck and everything in OTG mode, again, you're going to need your keyboard just to get through this initial phase. And what you're going to want to do is go up to your settings and click on that. Then you're going to want to go to controller settings. And essentially it's going to look something like this, where there's nothing connected other than, or there's no other check marks besides the guide button. What you're going to want to do is click on your Xbox configuration and your generic gamepad configuration support. And at that point, you should be able to see, and I'm going to click unhide because I had these on here. So you're going to see two controllers pop up. And essentially, yours will probably not be named Legends Pinball Arcade Control Panel. I named that. What you'll want to do is select the top one, and it'll be called like just Xbox controller or something, some generic controller name. You're going to want to go in after you've clicked on it, click Define Layout, and when you come in here, it's going to look just like this. I'm resetting mine so you don't see that. You would have nothing in there. It would just be all blanks, and it would say primary action buttons, blah, 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 blah. So what you want to do is select primary action with your keyboard mouse, and then at that point, you just start inputting the correct button combination, or the button, you press the correlating button to what you want in the setup. So primary action, you have go back, which is your B, you have tertiary action, which is your Y, you have your secondary action, which is your X, and then you would have your start button. I use P1. Obviously, guide button is the Legends Ultimate menu button, which is the green swirl, the green and white swirl. Then you have your back, which is your rewind button, and then you just go through left shoulder, right shoulder, which is your RB R1 and LB L1, and then your D-pad up, left, down, and right, which is just your joystick, and then your left trigger, which is your LT/L2 button, and then your RT/R2 button. Now, those two at the bottom, because you may have just the Ultimate Mini, or you may only have 6 buttons, you don't have to do anything there. Potentially you can remap button mapping within the games. You can also handle some of that within Steam itself. So if you don't have 8 buttons on your control deck, if you only have the 6 because you have the control deck that came with it, that's fine. Don't worry about those 2 at the bottom. When you're done, you just hit save, and then you can put in whatever the name of the controller is that you want, and you can select the type, which I would select Xbox One controller just like it has that. And then at that point, you can hit yes and upload, and it'll be stored for you. So I'm just going to back out of here since I've already done that. And then when you're done, it'll look something like this. You'll have a Xbox One controller, and it will have your name of your control deck on there. So you can see it's Legends Pinball Arcade. And at that point, you can go back in, check out the Define Layout. You would see everything's there. And we're ready to go. And at this point now, pretty much you can remove the use of the, keep it connected, but you can put the keyboard to the side. There's not going to be a lot that you need to do to be able to run Steam in big picture mode. Now, if you get out of big picture mode, you're definitely going to want to have this because you're into the Windows environment. But if you stay kind of in big picture, which pretty easy to do, like going into library and that, you have full control over it using the Steam Deck that it has, the settings you just did. So, as we were talking about that, plenty of games, you know, we're not really talking about how powerful the PC is or isn't. It's just, you know, you have plenty of game options with an OTG PC setup. You can go in and play, like, for example, I can play pretty much everything up to about Mortal Kombat 10 or 11. Those games become too tough for this little PC to be able to handle at any setting, but like Mortal Kombat 9 played perfectly fine. I've got about 100 games loaded onto this. You can see it says installed or 242. That's because just like the Legends Link app, Steam has its own streaming solution built to talk to other Steam machines. So it sees my gaming PC that I have in the house, and it's like, hey, you have games on there that are different than the ones you have installed on this machine, the little Alpha, the Alienware Alpha that's going to be inside the Legends Ultimate Mini. I'm going to add those games into the library, and you can just stream them. So that's the way you get access to games like Mortal Kombat, which is kind of nice. Like, you can just go in, let's see, I'll find Mortal Kombat really fast, and I'll show you the differences, how you can tell what you're doing. So, on here, I do have Mortal Kombat Complete Edition, which would be like Mortal Kombat 9, installed on this little Alienware Alpha. You can see right here it says play, and then it says right below that, more ways to play. So if I click on that, it'll say, do you want to stream it or do you want to play it locally? Locally is the machine, this machine. Streaming it would be this desktop that's here in the house. That's the gaming hub, essentially, of the house. So I could choose either one because it's installed on both. If we go back, and a game's not installed on the local device, the Alienware Alpha, you click on that, it'll say stream only. So at that point, you know for a fact that you're streaming it from the PC within your home, or from a PC within your home. You can go into more ways to play, and it would say this machine, but it's not installed on it. I could try to install it. It would install, but it's not going to run it very well. You're talking about like frames will drop all the way down to like 20 frames per second, something like that. And for Mortal Kombat, you don't want that. It's really bad. So in this case, you know, I would just click on stream. It gives you options of which version of Mortal Kombat you want to play, whether you want to play the standard one or the DirectX 12. I'm just going to do the standard one to kind of showcase this on here. The nice thing is, again, you're using the control deck. It's not going through the LegendsLink app or anything. It's going directly through Steam's own remote play capabilities within your home. So you can see it's picking up the control deck here, and then should be just popping up, and we can start playing essentially Mortal Kombat 11. You have full access to the menu if you want to go into the Steam overlay. I could go in and configure the controller itself from this point. I could also go in and download people's profiles that they've made that make the game better. Sometimes you'll find some that are for the Legends Ultimate family, or sorry, the AtGames Legends family of machines. But in most cases you won't. It'll be a gamepad or something like that. That should be pretty close. I do add controller configurations and button mapping for the AtGames Legends products to games when I'm playing them on here. So if you're looking for some that I've done, it'll be under Fog. And for example, like Centipede Reloaded or Recharged or Asteroids Recharged, you would see custom button mapping for this specific unit. And you can just download that right away, and it's set up and it's ready to play that game without you messing around with anything. So kind of nice. It's great to see the whole community start to do that. I don't know how fast that'll happen, but I'd love to see more people add in configurations that work well on AtGames Legends product into Steam, so it just makes it that much easier for everybody to jump in and start playing games. On here, you can also exit the game or stop the stream, but we're just going to show, for example, one round. So again, streaming from the big PC in the house. I'm just going to do one single match. You can see that it's pretty snappy. I mean, it's all within 60 frames per second. It's using the 2080 GPU that's in that PC over there. So it's got plenty of power. No concern about like being underpowered at all. I think this game is running on ultra high settings, and it's streaming that into the Legends Ultimate Mini, no issues. And at that point, if I really wanted to, I could then stream from this little PC to YouTube or whatever. But again, you're still kind of in that same area. So really what I wanted was local games to be played on this machine that then I could use a XSplit or something like that to stream directly from the Legends Gamer Mini with this PC in there. So you can see, you know, Mortal Kombat looks really nice. This screen is actually a pretty decent screen, and you know, some people are complaining about the plastic over it, you know, that so you don't see the LCD, or you can't touch it when you're switching things around, because when you're changing the rotation of this machine, you know, you're definitely exposing that LCD panel. But this is you know, looks great on this little LCD panel, and it actually plays really well. So you can kind of see that's Mortal Kombat 11 streaming from my big PC, but we'll play some games locally here now, and I'll be showing some footage and things like that. So let's kill off the streaming, and let's go in and find some games to play locally here. So one way you can do that You can see it says 242 installed. Well, again, that's picking up all the PC games in the house. If I go in over here to filter, I can go installed locally, and that'll show me only the games that are available on this little Alienware Alpha PC. That's 88 games. So essentially I've got games like that, Asteroids, Recharged, I've got Axiom Verge, 2D side-scroller platformers, things like that. But let's try to find something that may push it a little bit and see if it won't run it. Again, I played Mortal Kombat Complete Edition on here, played perfectly fine. Didn't really have any issues with it at all. I probably played at 60. Let's just choose RetroMania Wrestling. For example, this one should work just fine with the standard gamepad configuration. There's not much you need to do for it. It's basically working right out of the box. It's kind of a nice single player game on this device, although it's not just a single player experience, but it's just a really one controller here, so pretty much that's what you're dealing with. Now you can see that this game initially started in like windowed mode on Windows. Most of the time games will do full screen right off the bat when you first start them up, but you could have it to where a game doesn't load in full screen, and all you have to do is go into usually the operating system or the game menu, sorry, not the operating system, the game menu, and you can just enable full screen from that point, and it will remember that for the next time, so you don't ever have to worry about it again, essentially. You do have options for controls as well as you would with any other game, so you can make some changes, but if we just want to go in and we want to play something, I'm just going to choose character. We're going to choose the famous one for all the YouTubers, Too Many Games, and this is just going to play directly from the OTG PC, or the PC connected via OTG right onto the Legends Ultimate Mini. And like I said, not a massive cost, right? This PC didn't cost me more than $200. It should be something comparable as less than $200 for most people, and you can add that to Legends Ultimate Mini, which is only about what, $3.99 if you get the version, which is probably the only version they're going to sell that has the pinball tables built into it. But you can also find some of those people that paid only $2.99 for it from the National Owners Day event. So that's kind of nice. And if you paid $2.99, you put $200 in to have an OTG PC connection, you're like less than $500. There's not much out there. I think overall for me, it ended up being, I calculated out around $580 or $90, and with that new PC that I've ordered to do a test, it'll probably be less than $550. So not too bad. Game's running perfectly fine on this little PC. Let's go ahead and jump out, do another game really fast, and we'll do one more here. And I'm going to do one of the ones that I was playing most recently, which is like, for example, Asteroids. So Asteroids does have a configuration that you have to do, and we'll talk about that. So what you would do to configure the control deck for Asteroids is you would go into Manage Game, you'd go to Controller Configuration, and it's going to show the one that I've made because that was the last one that I used. But if you go in and you don't have that and it just says Gamepad, you hit X to browse, you go to Community, and there you would find the ones that I've made. And this is Asteroids Recharged for Legends Gamer Pro or Legends Gamer Mini, which is the deck that I'm using. So I will select that, I will hit X to apply, and that's all it takes. And now it's set up for playing the game in the, what I felt, for example, was the best possible configuration, because you really have limited options to choose for this game. It's not like you can go in and use just buttons. You have to use a joystick. I mean, I guess you could use just buttons to maneuver around, but realistically, the way that I found that's the nicest to play on this is your joystick moves your ship left and right, so spins you in a circle. A fires, B is your throttle or your thrusters, and RT on this control deck is your, what would it be called? Teleportation, where you can appear somewhere else on the screen. So if we go in, we'll hit single player. You know, we've got our, like I said, our shooting. Press B, we've got our thrusters. Press C, we've got our teleportation. And that's all it takes, right? It's a very limited configuration, but it's a good one to have. In some cases, like Centipede Recharged on the AtGames Legends Ultimate, you can even make it use the trackball, which is kind of nice. So those are the main things I wanted to talk about. Hope you enjoyed this, folks. If I missed anything, definitely let me know in the comments. That's the best place. Leave your comments down there. Tell me what you like, what you don't like, what you think of AtGames products, what you think of, you know, an OTG connection and modern games. Love to hear all that feedback. I think it helps everybody talk a little bit more about it, get a better idea of what they want to do when they get one of these units, or should they buy one of these units? What's the benefits? What does it look like? You know, we're just trying to showcase the best features of the units, and I use these all the time. This is going to be my solution for streaming games out from the Legends Ultimate Mini. I've got one more Alienware Alpha that I'm going to drop in that Legends Ultimate Arcade, and then every Legends product will, except for the Gamer Pro back here behind me, but that'll probably get that other PC that I've ordered to do that video for. Every Legends Ultimate device in the house will have its own PC connected to it, so I can stream out 2-player on the Legends Ultimate, Steam games here on the Legends Ultimate Mini, and my pinball stuff that I do on the Legends Pinball Pro, or the Legends Pinball. Kind of unnecessary, yes, but it's just like what I want to do. So also, if you haven't already, definitely give us a subscribe. Come back, check out these videos, check out these kind of things that we're doing where we're adding in other components to these units. I'm going to probably do, when it's all said and done, a full like review of like the upgrades I've done on the Legends Ultimate Mini. I did that on the Legends Ultimate Arcade. You can find that up here in the corner. It kind of goes through all the accessories and everything I like for that. I will also link up in the corner here shortly the Legends Ultimate Pinball that I've done extensive upgrades to, plenty of upgrades to, and really enjoy all these devices. Have a lot of fun with them. I like the arcade machines. I like the arcade 1-up machines, but I really like Legends Gamer and the Legends Ultimate family, because I get a chance to tinker around and add stuff in that I think is great and what I'll use the most. So also, if you can, give this video a like and share it with somebody that's interested in this stuff. The more we get this out there, the more people get a chance to see it in action, the more times they talk about it and, you know, make comments and talk to the about what they want to see, and the more often that the folks over at AtGames and Arcade 1-Up and iArcade will get a chance to check out these video comments and take some of that feedback into the product. We've seen it already happening with the Legends, with the Arcade 1-Up Infinity Game Table here on this channel specifically, and would love to keep that going on, because again, love talking about these games, love talking about these machines, love talking about like what you can do with them and how I use them. So appreciate your time. I know it was supposed to be a short video, but it ended up being a long one. But there's some things to say about it and a little bit more explanation around things that I think help folks out. So thanks again. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.